let's talk about the KKK. It's time to kill Kyler and Kliff. Not literally, and
let me tell you, the KKK, they definitely looked like it out there. I mean, they look like ghosts because they fucking weren't there.
I don't know if Kyler. It takes me to Django where they had the mask on, they couldn't see out the hole. That was Kyler.
That was damn near how he looked for sure.
So I put in our group.
He threw arguably the worst pick six I've ever seen.
Bro, Carson Wentz was like,
he looked like Nathan Peterman throwing that bitch. No, Carson Wentz is that's too good of a compliment for the interception. Because at least Carson would have went down with an injury in the midst of that play. He looked like Nathan Peterman. He looked like he just, I mean, even the other team is kind of like, they catch it and they're kind of surprised. They're like,
buddy from the Reds like, I caught it. Oh, this is right here for me?
Right.
If I'm Steve Keim, we're doing our exit interview. I'm like, hey, Kliff.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
You're an OC.
Because here's the thing. He's an OC. If you look at all of his teams historically, they don't finish the season strong. And I look at Kyler, even though Kyler is extremely gifted.
I don't think he's the guy.
He's not. If you look at Kyler and Kliff, do you say, can I win a Super Bowl with you two? I say, hell no.
Fun to watch.
Like, we want to, unless I can get Lincoln up here.
Well, Link can be bought.
Yeah, but what is that buyout? I'm not dropping that money.
I don't know, but people, hey, they're billionaires.
Yeah. But unless I'm getting
$10 million,
Because, I mean, even in that game Monday, you got Kyler limping around and all of this shit. Like, dude, you're 5'9.5", 5'10", 207 soaking wet. Yo, you're not. Go to the athletics, man. You're not a NFL quarterback at your size. And year in and year out, it keeps showing. He gets hurt. He gets dinged. He missed games this year. He couldn't finish last season strong. And granted, it was his first playoff game. But if you want to talk about Oklahoma quarterbacks, I'm more optimistic in Jalen Hurts being a long-term successful quarterback than I am Kyler Murray. And I think Kyler Murray is more skilled, but he's 5'9". That's really why I never believed in Isaiah Thomas, little IT for the Celtics. Hey, you're 5 foot. People who are smaller than me don't succeed in any pro sport except for baseball and tennis.
Yeah, Jose Altuve being like, probably the best example, because Jose Altuve is like 5'6" or 5'7". He's short as shit. But boy, that son of a bitch can hit that ball.
Especially when he got the speaker in his ear.
You mean the trash cans?
Yeah.
But
yeah, glad we beat them in the World Series.
Everybody was. The Braves truly were America's team again.
Yeah, I mean, we're a state of champions. All of you people were force-fed the Braves throughout your whole lives because Ted Turner put him on his national network.
They were winning games, though.
Yeah.
Even during that, I mean, they were always winning games, so nobody could be too upset at the product, right? They won games. Like, the Braves were a 90 winner. 90. Yeah, they were winning 90 to, 98 games a year.
So what do you think we go with Kyler and Kliff? Do we kill them or do we keep them?
Arizona's got to do some soul searching because you bought in those oldies, those old heads. You replaced Fitz with AJ, and AJ showed a little life. You brought in Ertz, who came on very strong once you added him. He was a great addition. I enjoyed them getting him. I thought that he was a really good tight end to get. JJ is the tread's off the tires, man. He there's no more tread there. He gets injured every year. He still can be impactful, I guess, but my goodness, he has got to be a rotation guy. He's got to be like what Dwight Freeney was for the Falcons the year.
You know what JJ Watt is? He's a classic Benz, like a classic 80s Benz, right? Like your Beverly Hills Cop shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you actually drove it until 2022. You know what I mean? Like, it looks good, but
pristine condition.
You're just hoping to make it out of the parking lot before the chicks realize that like you're going to the dealership tomorrow and you're about to drop $5,000 just to get this bad boy back running.
And that still might not fix it the way it needs to be fixed because it's just got too much mileage on it.
Yeah.
And so I think
it's like that old girl we used to like who's used to be a good time, and now it's like, oh golly.
Well, to quote Ghana, Mr. P himself, he said, yeah, he's like, that chick you cuffing is cute. He said, but that P got too many miles on it. And so, it's cute, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the value of it's decreased. And so for Kliff and Kyler, I think that they've got to do some serious soul searching. I think we brought this up briefly in the chat a little bit, that I think ideally at this point, if you're Kliff and you want to save your job, I know you like Kyler because you took the job because of it and you lied to Josh Rosen and said, yeah, Josh is our quarterback, knowing goddamn well that you were going to fucking trade for the number 1 pick and draft Kyler Murray. I think if they want to execute something like this, I bet the Houston Texans would take Kyler, who apparently Kyler Murray, based on, I remember ESPN had an article up about this like a few weeks ago. They like ranked Kyler Murray like as the greatest Texas high school quarterback ever. So he's like,
right, he is like, I don't think he's lost a football game in the state of Texas in his
Texas
entire life.
Loves Kyler Murray. Yeah, hell, he beat the fuck out of the Cowboys like 3 weeks ago. I remember that game. And that game was in Dallas. And so, like, you want something in return for him. Hell, you got J.J. Watt already, and you got Nuke Hopkins. The Arizona Cardinals were already becoming the Arizona Texans. Go ahead and complete the trifecta and just trade Kyler for D. Watt. Kyler gets to go back. Kyler gets more time to, become, I guess, whatever he's going to be. He gets to go back home. He'll get his payday because Houston will pay him. Because if you're going to trade Deshaun Watson, you're going to probably pay Kyler Murray. They're going to pay him. So he'll get paid. He'll get to be home. I don't know what part of Texas he's from, if it's closer to Houston or Dallas or Austin.
I think he's like a Dallas guy. He's like from Allen, Texas, some shit like that.
Okay, so either way, he's not going to be the Cowboys quarterback. But, like, he still is from that state. He gets to go back to the state of Texas. D. Watt gets a fresh lease on life in Arizona. Russell might, he gets to play with Nuke. JJ might be there. Who knows? And you get to bring back, Russ might be gone from Seattle. It opens up, to where now you finally got that one team that you're going to sweep every year. And the Rams at the end of the day, even though they got all that talent, they got to figure out if they're going to pay Odell Beckham. Von Miller, another guy that's, I know he got a sack in the last game, but like another guy that's kind of at the end of his career a little bit. Like, like you can tell like he's not who he used to be anymore.
A fringe team's going to overpay Von at the end of this offseason. And it's going to be, is Von trying to get another ring, or is Von trying to
just one last payday?
Yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, I kind of like that one. Just move him to Houston because shit, it's not going to work in Arizona.
And then, depending on what ownership feels like, you can either let Kliff do one more year with D. Watt and see what happens, or, I don't know who you could go get necessarily.
Hey, Deshaun wanted Bieniemy.
Nobody sold on him because Andy Reid's the one that's calling the plays. Like, so it's just kind of like, is he coming up with the game plan? Like, what does Bieniemy do?
Well, let's be real. Matt Nagy wasn't a bad head coach. He had Ryan Pace as a GM, and he probably and when he had Vic Fangio as his DC, who's the adult in the room, who's been in the league forever, they were running a good operation up there. So, like, I don't think the Andy Reid coaching tree is a bad coaching tree. Obviously, it's not, because shit, his protege
coaching trees.
Yeah, his protege won a Super Bowl before he did. Doug Peterson So, like, the
And
coaching
Doug's gonna get a job. I think Doug's gonna be in Jacksonville.
I want better for Doug, but you know what? I want this for Trevor Lawrence because he's a Cartersville product, and he deserves better coaching than fucking Herb. You know, Mister.
But Doug's gonna at least restore respectability to that Jacksonville franchise. A guy like Doug would do that, you know.
A franchise that hasn't been respected since its infancy when they had Fred Taylor and Mark Brunell, if we're being honest.
Yeah. And who's the wide receiver?
McCardell or Smith?
Smith. But yeah, they had Cardell too. Yeah.
And McCardell, he killed the Falcons when he went with the Bucks. But it sounds like you want Kliff out of town, you want Kyler out of town. I probably bring Kliff back for one more year.
And I'm saying, you might probably give him one more shot.
Let him finish his contract out, and we decide if we're going to re-sign him because
he is terrible at in-game adjustments.
Oh God, yeah. He almost lost to Detroit this year, didn't he? Like, you remember that stupid?
They got steamed by Detroit.
You're right. You remember that field goal? You remember that field goal he went for like at the end of the second half of the first half against Detroit? It's like and they like almost kicked six, or they either like returned it. Like,
you're talking about Jacksonville.
That's right. Jacksonville.
They did do it, and Jacksonville ran it back.
It's like, bro, Kliff? Why did you kick that? Like, that was stupid.
Because he wanted to see Matt Prater kick a 68-yard field goal.
Bro, he's not Justin Tucker.
Matt Prater's got a strong leg,
but he's not Tucker.
Yeah, he's not the best kicker in the NFL, right?
You know, so
Matt Prater, funny enough, Matt Prater started off on the Falcons in preseason. I remember seeing him because he was the first kicker I ever saw with a tattoo. Fun fact of the day. But he was on the Falcons. That was the first NFL team that he played for, was the Falcons.
All right, so before we get into predicting this week,